Number 95 in the Radiance range is Il Posto, The Place, from 1961, directed by Ermanio Olmi. This is a wonderful coming-of-age story. We follow the young character of Domenico, whose family have hit some financial troubles, and rather than furthering his career, the family choice has been made that he is now going to work. Not quite a man, still hanging on to kind of boyish tendencies. Domenico is kind of forced out into the real world, a place where he's not really ready to go to. He's often wearing this suit that just feels a little bit off, doesn't quite fit him. It's that feeling of somewhere between boyhood and manhood as he's thrust into the working world. As he goes to this place for an interview, you see lots of people in a similar boat, lots of people who have been kind of pushed out into the working environment earlier than maybe they should have. And there he meets Antonietta, a young girl who they kind of have a connection, a moment. In a break for the interview, these two people just end up hanging out together. And there is something magical and wonderful about this, as you just see the blossoming elements of fascination, of admiration, as these two just go for their first coffee, they take a walk about, they chit-chat, they see the sights, they connect on a certain level, and it's absolutely wonderful, and it's wonderfully created. And although there isn't a lot of dialogue, it's all done through imagery that really just tells this story incredibly well of burgeoning love, it seems, or definitely infatuation for the most part. But these two people are now into the real world, and things are going to pull them apart, as the real world has a habit of doing. Domenico is forced to take a job lesser than what he expected, being a messenger boy in a separate building. Antonietta is put into the main building, and because they're in these different buildings, they never really cross paths. And you have Domenico always trying to catch her, to talk to her. You can see that kind of infatuation growing within him. And it's a wonderful kind of tale of Domenico's coming of age as he kind of realises that the world that he is moving into, how everything kind of works, and that everything may not work out the way he wants it to as well. I utterly loved this story.
Aspetta qualcuno.
Una mia amica.
Ma quella si chiama?
Non lo so.
There was something fascinating about it, and Domenico is a character who is, for the most part, very quiet, doesn't say a lot, seems trapped in his own mind, as you can see him kind of struggling with certain things, the duality of what he's kind of thinking, which comes across really well in the film, and what he is having to do. There is a definite divide there where he almost feels like he's lost himself and is pushed into a unusual situation where he really doesn't want to be, but kind of has to be at the same time. And although there is this love aspect of it, it's not the main aspect of the story, which I kind of like. You know, it's another element of this boy's move into manhood as he kind of has this first love or first infatuation. But there's so many wonderful sequences in this. Like the same part where they go round the town is terrific.
Volevo studiare lingue, ma poi mi sono stufata. Sai com'è? Tanto una donna prima o poi si sposa e buonanotte.
When they go to the interview, and there is just a slew of people in a similar situation, mix of age ranges throughout them, but a lot of sort of younger kids forced into the sort of working environment before they're really ready to be there, which I find kind of a fascinating aspect as well. There is a party sequence later on which is just really enjoyable, as Domenico is kind of picked up by a few other people and gets to have a little bit of fun, dance, realise there's other things out there. It's just It's one of those movies that just eases by. For 98 minutes, you just get to see this character as he slowly, ever so slightly, comes out of his shell and starting to realise that his aspect of how his life is going to be. But it's wonderfully portrayed. And the black and white photography is stunning. The production values are great. The situations where they are, whether it be a small office, whether it be the office politics that are going on that we get a taste of, whether it be an abandoned fairground, or it feels like an abandoned fairground as they're just kind of walking about, devoid of people. It's stunning to look at. It's captivating to watch. It's a tale that everybody can emphasise with, and it just hits the mark. Absolutely wonderful film. I can't rave about Il Posto highly enough. Let's dive into the disc and have a look at some of the extras. Here we are in the disc for Il Posto. Let's go to the special features. First up, we have got Maurizio Zaccaro. Filmmaker Maurizio Zaccaro gives a very personal reflection of his mentor, Ermanio Olmi, from their experiences on set together through his thoughts on Olmi's first two films. Filmed exclusively for Radiance in October 2024. This runs for 18 minutes, 37 seconds. He talks about how he kind of met Olmi, how they started to work together, how they kind of relied on each other's partnership, how he was very particular in the way that he went about shooting, and anecdotes about how they kind of worked together. Next up, we have Lamberto Caimi. In this newly filmed interview, director of photography Lamberto Caimi discusses his meeting with Olmi, their early work together, and Il Posto, filmed exclusively for Radiance in October 2024. And this runs at 17 minutes, 6 seconds. There is a lot of how they came to work together, how they kept getting called back to work with him, how he eventually ended up getting moved into the department so he could be closer to Olmi and work with him, and a little bit about his passion for photography and how it really kind of grew from some starting elements, some chance encounters, and it's another great talking head. Next we have Richard Dyer. In this newly filmed interview, critic, academic and Italian cinema expert Richard Dyer provides a detailed and engaging analysis of Il Posto, filmed exclusively for Radiance in October 2024, and this runs for a staggering 39 minutes 10 seconds, and he really gets into all the nitty gritty here about the film, how it came together, the sort of themes and thematics throughout it, certain shots, elements, how this was kind of, even just the plot line put him off from seeing it, but seeing the film was such a visual entertainment and then shock of how wonderful it was, how it really affected him. And we have a deleted scene that runs for 3 minutes and 56 seconds. And that's the extras for Il Posto. There we have it. First film from this 2-film set. Il Posto was an absolute cracker, another wonderful movie, and one that I would highly recommend. You kind of need to go on this one. It's really interesting. I would love to know your thoughts if you've seen it. So let me know in the comment box below whether you loved it, hated it, fell somewhere in the middle. As always, there's more content up here. You can see more of my stuff. In the description box below are links to Patreon, membership program, manvfilm.com. Always in which you can support. Thanks for watching. See you next.